On the 11th of September 2001, the deadliest terror attack on American soil took place. In the aftermath, the hunt for those responsible would become a major part of American foreign policy. In today's video, we will look at the hunt for Osama Bin Laden and the deadly raid on his compound. On the 11th of September, Al-Qaeda launched a coordinated attack involving 4 planes. The targets were the key symbols of American power: the Pentagon, the US Capitol, and the North and South Towers of the World Trade Center. 2 planes hit the Twin Towers, killing everyone on board. Many people in the towers, along with hundreds of first responders who were killed as they entered the buildings. Another plane would crash into the Pentagon, the headquarters of the US military. 125 people were killed, along with all 64 people on board. The 4th plane was also hijacked, but passengers fought back in a bid to reclaim the plane. Its target was thought to be the US Capitol or the White House. Instead, the struggle caused the plane to crash, averting a possible greater tragedy. In all, the attacks killed 2,977 people. Thousands more were injured, many left with lifelong injuries caused by the debris. Bin Laden did not initially claim responsibility for the attack, though German and American intelligence intercepted communications that seemed to confirm his involvement. A statement he released through Al Jazeera News denied Al-Qaeda's involvement, though praised whoever carried out these attacks. But in 2004, Bin Laden released a video through Al Jazeera where he admitted his role in the attack. He stated that his goal was to bankrupt America and cause the country to plunge into chaos. But this would not be the first time that Bin Laden would come to the attention of American intelligence. His early years saw him organize Mujahideen fighters during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. After the war, Bin Laden devoted his life to spreading jihad and removing Western influence from the Middle East. A number of attacks were carried out by his terror network in Yemen, Kenya, and Tanzania. Attacks on American embassies led to a number of missile strikes against Al-Qaeda camps in Afghanistan, and Bin Laden was placed on the FBI's most wanted. Within weeks of the September 11th attacks, the US invaded Afghanistan. The goal was the overthrow of the Taliban regime and the destruction of Al-Qaeda operatives. But Bin Laden's exact location was not known at the time. When the US invaded Afghanistan, the CIA would play a major role in gathering intelligence as to Bin Laden's whereabouts. It was thought he would be hiding in the White Mountains of the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Despite intense bombing campaigns and special operation missions, it is thought that Bin Laden fled through the Tora Bora cave complex in late 2001, escaping into Pakistan. For nearly a decade, he remained the world's most wanted fugitive. The CIA and other intelligence agencies tracked financial transactions, monitored communications, and interrogated detainees in secret prisons, all in a desperate bid to uncover his whereabouts. The reward for information that would lead to his capture was raised to $25 million, but all of this led to nothing but dead ends. That was until the identification of one of his trusted couriers, Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti. Now, Bin Laden avoided the use of satellite phones after a signal from an associate's phone was used to coordinate a missile strike. Instead, he used trusted couriers to relay messages and provide supplies. Al-Kuwaiti was tracked to a compound in the Pakistani city of Abbottabad, less than a mile from a Pakistani military academy. It was from this very compound that Bin Laden would release audio and videotapes, encouraging other jihadists to wage their own holy war against the West. These tapes would go on to inspire many other jihadists to carry out their own attacks, including the horrendous bombings in London on the 7th of July 2005. After months of surveillance, it was suspected that Bin Laden and his family were living within the compound, but this was only confirmed through a particularly controversial method. The CIA sought to check whether or not Bin Laden was actually living in this Pakistani city by means of DNA testing. They had Bin Laden's sister's DNA following her death in America in 2010, but they needed to obtain samples from people living in the compound. The CIA were aware that some of the only people to gain access to the compound were health officials who administered polio vaccines to the children within. The cover for DNA extraction of the compound residents would be a hepatitis vaccine program. If they could get the DNA from the needles, and if there was a match to Bin Laden's DNA, then it would confirm that Bin Laden was located there, and the raid would get the go-ahead. And so, the CIA approached a leading healthcare official in the region to act on their behalf in obtaining the DNA samples required. The healthcare professional arranged for the program to be rolled out, and they reportedly arranged for a nurse entering the compound to bring in an unknown electronic device. Whether surveillance inside the compound or DNA samples confirmed the location of Bin Laden is unclear, but soon after the fake vaccine program was completed, the go-ahead to carry out the raid was given. On my birthday, the 2nd of May 2011, Operation Neptune Spear was authorized by President Obama. 2 specialized Black Hawk helicopters flew into the Pakistani city. Aboard were members of the elite SEAL Team 6. Their goal was to kill or capture the elusive Bin Laden. The first team descended from the helicopter to storm the compound, whilst the second team secured the perimeter. The team breached the compound using explosives and moved through the buildings. During the raid, operatives killed several individuals who were seen as a threat, including Bin Laden's adult son, Khalid, Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti, and al-Kuwaiti's wife. On the 3rd floor, Osama Bin Laden was finally located. There are differing accounts as to what happened that night and how Bin Laden was actually killed. One account details that as the SEAL team moved up to his 3rd floor bedroom, Osama Bin Laden peered through his bedroom door at the Americans advancing up the stairs. Upon seeing their target, the lead SEAL opened fire, though these shots did not kill him. When the SEALs entered the room, they were faced with Bin Laden and a number of his female relatives. One of Bin Laden's wives was shot in the leg when she appeared to charge the operatives. Another account details how Bin Laden was using the women as a human shield before he was shot twice in the forehead. Another account details how he was in fact wounded when the lead SEAL opened fire, and when they entered the room, they fired into the wounded Bin Laden as he lay on the floor. His body was taken by the operatives and loaded onto a Chinook helicopter. From the compound, valuable intelligence, computer hard drives, and all manner of electronic equipment was taken. Bin Laden's body was then flown to the USS Carl Vinson, where it was buried at sea within 24 hours. He was thought to have been thrown into the ocean to avoid his resting place becoming a shrine, though the decision to dispose of his body in such a way proved to be controversial. Aside from speculation whether or not Bin Laden was actually killed, some Muslim scholars would argue that the burial at sea was not in line with Sharia burial rites. But the Americans insisted that burial at sea was the only option, as finding a country willing to host Bin Laden's remains within a 24-hour period, which is specified under Sharia, would have been too difficult. Once the raid was completed, Obama announced Bin Laden's death that night, although Al-Qaeda did not die that night with him, with Ayman al-Zawahiri taking over control, at least until his death in 2022. Al-Qaeda would swear revenge for the death of their founder, along with other jihadists inspired by Bin Laden. And these were not idle threats. By August of 2011, almost 90 separate terror attacks had been carried out in Pakistan alone, resulting in over 1,000 dead and injured. The aftermath of the raid was massive. The man responsible for the biggest terror attack on American soil was finally dead. The figure that had garnered so much hate and triggered a massive response was no more, but his death would not spell the end of Islamist terror, nor would it signal the end of the mission in Afghanistan and Iraq. The war on terror is understood to have claimed more than 900,000 lives. Vast amounts were spent on a series of wars, the consequences of which are still felt to this day. From the fall of Saddam Hussein to the rise of ISIS, these major events can be traced to Bin Laden and his plans for jihad. Even in countries untouched by the carnage of war, the restriction in civil liberties in the name of counter-terrorism were a major consequence. As for Pakistan, They were outraged by the raid on their territory and being kept in the dark. The health professional who helped the CIA get the DNA was named Dr. Shakil Afridi. He was arrested by the Pakistani authorities after it was revealed that he had assisted the CIA by running a fake vaccination campaign to help confirm the location of Osama Bin Laden. Although widely believed to be the real reason for his arrest, he was not officially charged for aiding the CIA. Instead, he was convicted and sentenced to 33 years in prison on charges of alleged ties to a banned militant group, not for his role in the Bin Laden operation. Also, when news of the fake vaccine program broke, vaccine hesitancy rose, and not long after, polio spiked in Pakistan. Relations between Pakistan and the US worsened, with elements in the Pakistani military and government suspected of being aligned with jihadist groups. But in all, the raid was more of a major moral and propaganda victory for the US, proving that those who dare strike against them will be hunted down, no matter how long it takes. Bin Laden had hoped to provoke America into an endless war, and to bankrupt and discredit the nation. Whether or not he succeeded, I shall leave to you.